France. Small off on the three, was a very good three-point shooter a year ago. In transition, Giacchini inside, blocked by Small, got it back, can't finish.
And that's really what St. Mary's likes to do. They like to play that high-low game, and they want to get out in transition, and so they got the look they wanted. They just couldn't finish the play.
5 minutes gone by in the first half on a game that's kind of looked rec league-ish so far.
Yeah, both teams have got to settle in. Great running through there. Jordan getting the steal and almost the dunk.
And he missed the dunk. Caleb Jordan can't finish. Asbury the other way, open three. Bobcats on top, 9-5. Caleb Asbury named third team All-Sunbelt Conference a year ago. And boy, talk about coachable moments for Jim Zelsnak. Looking back at that missed opportunity in transition, that's going to be part of film review tomorrow.
Yeah, that's a 5-point swing. You know, you miss a layup and then you give up a three on the other end. You've got to play smart basketball.
Fight for the basketball, won by Shelby Adams. That is the fifth turnover against St. Mary's. Here's Drennan inside to Martin. Martin. Short on the turnaround, a rebound hauled in by Karen, sophomore out of Longview, Texas. Transition three, Jordan. No, we have our first timeout of the game. It's been sloppy, but the Bobcats hold a 9-5 lead. 13:51 to go in the first half. Back after this from San Marcos. And welcome back to Strand Arena. It's been sloppy early on, but the Bobcats hold a 9-5 lead. 13:51 to go here in the first half. You see Terrence Johnson, Texas State second-year head coach, seventh year with the program. Guided his team to an 18-7 record a year ago, 12-3 in the Sun Belt. First place finish in the West. Best Sun Belt record in the regular season. Drennan off on the jumper. Drew Drennan, junior out of Smyrna, Georgia, one of the newcomers this year for Texas State. A team that features a lot of returners, a handful of new faces, Small the rejection. And the basketball stays with the Rattlers.
And Texas State's done a good job on the defensive end. Isaiah Small's length is just really hard to get around at the rim. I think that's his second block tonight already. And he does such a good job on the defensive end for the Bobcats.
Isaiah Small, 31 blocks a year ago, fifth most in the Sun Belt. Back to the basket here for Emmanuel Owuzie. Fights inside. And the rebound pinball is off to Isaiah Small.
Nate Martin's doing a really good job on Giacchini, just staying down, keeping him in front of him and getting his hands, or walling up as they call it, and not fouling, trying to make him make some tough shots.
Small got his own miss. Back to Trenton. Again, feeling it at point guard tonight for Mason Harrell. Inside Martin, good spin move, and the finish off the glass for Nate Martin.
That was a great move by Martin to the baseline. Gave a little fake, a little quick spin, and nice high off the glass. That's a good sign for the Bobcats to have that interior presence.
Martin had some nice moments, some impacts in conference play, backing up Alonzo Sule last year. Off balance three, way off. Rebound, stick back won't go. Loose ball, back to Texas State. Now getting back to Sule, of course, one of the departures over the offseason. Alonzo Sule transferring to James Madison. Bobcats, again, the majority of the players from a year ago back, but not everybody.
And again, it'll be interesting to see again how this Bobcat team comes together with some of the new pieces as you know into the puzzle here. We've talked about some of the returners, the big three back, to see somehow these new guys, and one of them just entered the game that we've heard a lot about is Tyrell Morgan. So I'm anxious to see him and what he can do out here for the Bobcats.
Quinn Scott, another player who elected to transfer, now at Tulane. Joining a former Sun Belt Conference coach now with the Green Wave, and Ron Hutter, formerly of Georgia State, now the head coach at Tulane and the American. Well, on the topic of conferences, the cards continue to be shuffled. And
that's a way to put it, Brand.
Collegiate deck, if you will. Good ball movement here by the Rattlers. Knifing his way inside. Floater is good for Ryan Leonard, junior out of Cary, Ireland. And it's now 11-7.
And he is one of those transfers that Coach Zenak is very excited about, that they think is going to bring some really good leadership and, again, some experience to the Rattler team.
Shot clock at 13. Caesar is caught for the offensive foul. Turnover number 7 for Texas State, and a timeout on the floor. 11 minutes and change to go in this preseason first half. Bobcats on top of the Rattlers from Strand Arena.
When I was applying to Texas State, I knew I was interested in environmental studies, and when I was going through the majors, I saw that it was listed under geography, and I actually didn't know what geography was about, but I applied because I knew that's what I wanted to do, and then I got here, and I fell in love with geography.
The community here at Texas State is very friendly and very opening, very accepting, I feel like, to all backgrounds, and I've just really enjoyed my experience here at Texas State.
People are always searching for what's next. At Texas State University, we're always imagining it, making it, creating it, and when we need to, breaking it. Next moves us forward and turns challenge into achievement. At Texas State University, we are driving what's next, and next is now.
Back in San Marcos here on ESPN Plus, preseason action, Texas State and St. Mary's. And there's actually some history between these two. 67 all-time meetings, and the first meeting came nearly 100 years ago, 1925. The first time ever the Rattlers and Bobcats hooked up. For the longest time, these two were conference rivals. They played twice every year from 1962 to 1984. Speaking of 84, that was the last time they faced each other in the regular season, going on close to 40 years. Out of the timeout, three-pointer off target on the attempt from C.J. Washington. Back on the Bobcats. They've led for a majority, but neither team has played cleanly. Each team under 40% shooting. Bobcats at 36, the Rattlers at 19%. And Dawson has issues against Leonard and turns it over.
And again, that's some of that sloppy play, Brant, that you've alluded to tonight. You know, again, first game, a little bit of jitters out there. You know, you look there at Dawson, he's trying to run the offense, gets a little loose with the ball and gets it picked.
Talked about shooting numbers. The Bobcats last year second to the conference in shooting. Only Georgia State shot at a higher percentage. Here's McGee. Catch and shoot three, short by Karen, and a foul.
So they've called a warning for flopping on number 5, which is Karen for St. Mary's. It's a rule they can give a warning. If that happens again, then they can assess a technical.
Tyler Karen, sophomore out of Longview, Texas. Double-figure per-game score last year. Hit it 6 times a season ago. Coming up at the halfway point of the first half. Bobcats and Rattlers playing a warm-up here, preseason basketball. Texas State opens the regular season this coming Tuesday. Caesar drives, kicks, corner 3, Morgan. Rebound, St. Mary's.
Long shot there by McGee. And again, Nate Martin is working hard on the boards. Great save underneath by Caesar. It's going to end up being the Bobcats' ball. Again, sloppy. St. Mary's is getting some good looks from the 3 because they're a team, Brent, that likes to really space you out, 4 out, 1 in with one interior player, and then open up some lanes to be able to put the ball on the deck. Texas State has been doing a pretty decent job of keeping them in front of them, but it also gives a lot of alleys for the Rattlers to go and get offensive rebounds, which you've seen them get a lot of touches throughout this first half.
Basketball back to Texas State. We've now hit the halfway point. Here the first half. Mentioned the Bobcats' first regular season game on Tuesday in San Antonio against Incarnate Ward, a team the Bobcats beat in St. Marcus last year. Small, can't finish on the drive. Bobcats down to 31% shooting and haven't scored in more than 3 minutes. Pass deflected and taken away. Davian Coleman. The deflection there for Texas State, newcomer from Blinn Junior College. And a whistle before the drive and a foul called against St. Mary's.
And, you know, in the preseason, Brent, when I think back, way back in the day when I was coaching, I'd think back, and one of the big things in the preseason you really want to focus on is transition defense. And that's usually one of the things that you struggle with is getting back, matching up, and communicating. And you see both these teams have been really pushing the ball back at each other, and they've been getting to the rim some, and so those are some things that need to get corrected. Inbounds
pass deflected by Owuzi. Bobcats will try this again.
And St. Mary's is really playing a good pressure man-to-man. They're getting out in the passing lanes. They're challenging Texas State for making pass from A to B. They're not making anything easy for the Bobcats.
Coleman, pass intercepted and taken away by Owuzi. Texas State's 9th turnover. Rattlers the other way, Owuzi inside. Well, St. Mary's can't buy a bucket. 3 of 20 from the floor for the Rattlers so far tonight.
And again, Coach Snellsack cannot be upset with that. That's exactly what they wanted. They sprinted in transition. They got their big on the block against a small from Texas State and just missed it.
Caesar can't finish at the rim. Good closeout defense by Josh Brewer. You see the numbers, neither team shooting well.
Yep.
And neither team can hold on to the basketball either. But Suzanne, again, if you ask Coach Zelzdak for St. Mary's, Terrence Johnson for Texas State, if you're going to have a game in which you shoot 3 of 20 or 5 of 17 and commit 9 or 7 turnovers, it may as well come in the preseason.
Yeah, and that's, again, both teams are sort of running through their lineups. You've seen a lot of guys from both teams get in, get some court time. And that's really the preseasons. I talk about transition defense being a big thing that you want to have. Also, you want to get guys some court time. You know, you want to see what they do when they get under the big lights, how they perform, and this gives both coaching staffs tape to assess and evaluate and make corrections on, and that's why you play these type of games.
Here's Drennan, small to corner, lines up a 3. Bobcats from 3, 1 of 6. Small the miss. Here comes St. Mary's the other way. Open look at a three for the Rattlers is good. Ryan Leonard, 39% three-point shooter at JUCO a couple of years ago. And the Rattlers have cut the lead down to 1. Bobcats scoring drought is now nearing 5 minutes. Offensive foul, Caleb Asbury couldn't get away with the shove. C.J. Washington draws a foul as the Bobcats commit their 10th turnover.
Yeah, and that's where Asbury's just gotta play smart. You know, he was trying to get some separation to be able to get, because the Rattlers are doing a really good job getting those hands and getting their feet in that deep in the passing lane, and just got a little overzealous.
Talked about Texas State's season opener against UIW. That is the first of a season-opening 5-game road swing for the Bobcats. Their first home game of the season will be their 6th game of the year on November the 24th. Dawson is steal, and then the foul committed by St. Mary's, and another timeout on the floor. Low-scoring affair. It might be the first of 50 in this one. Back after this from St. Marcus with the Bobcats on top. And coming out of the timeout, Nigel Caesar, a basket for Texas State. 13-10 Bobcats on top. That ended a 5-minute and 20-second scoring drought. Brant Freeman alongside Suzanne Fox. Another season of college basketball upon us. Suzanne and I had the chance to do 11 of these last year. Texas State home games, and looking forward to even more in a somewhat regular year here in 21-22.
Yeah, it should be a good home schedule to watch the Bobcats, both the men and the women's teams. And it was just nice to get back and to have games, you know. That screeching halt we came to in 2020. And so it was nice to get back to have a little bit of a regular schedule last year.
You talk about, again, that season opening schedule for Texas State at Incarnate Ward this coming Tuesday. Next weekend, the Bobcats have 2 games against the SEC. Up first, LSU, a week from tomorrow on November the 12th. And then, as Caesar scores again, November the 14th, the Bobcats go to Nashville to play Vanderbilt. After that, Texas State will then head west to California for the Empire Classic hosted by Cal State Northridge. 2 games there before finally coming home to play LeTourneau for their first home game of the season.
You know, and I think that's, you look back last year, Brant, at the Bobcats, and they they were road warriors. I mean, they did a great job on the road, and I think, you know, it helps when you get on the road, you bond, you're in the hotel, and it's just all about basketball at that point in time. So it may be a good time for Coach TJ to get these guys huddled up and sort of get them going on the right page.
Bobcats on top by 5. Final 6.5 to go here in the first half. Here's Drennan. Again, filling in for Mason Harrell. Not available tonight, but should be okay moving forward. Small. The drive, the kick. Drennan off the pump fake. Shot blocked. Loose ball. Gets it back. Small. Fade away at the horn. No, but fouled. A drawn-out possession of the Bobcats get a bailout foul, the buzzer, and free throw shots coming up for Isaiah Small.
And that was a good possession. Since the last timeout, Brant, I don't know what Coach TJ, what magic words he spoke in the huddle, but they've been more patient on the offensive end. You've seen more ball reversals where they've taken the ball from one side of the court to the other. They've been sharing the basketball a little better, and their shots have been higher percentage. And so I think they're starting, hopefully, the Bobcats to calm down. On the other end, you know, I think Coach Zelnak has to be proud of his team because they've come down and they've gotten the kind of shots that they normally get. They like to get things in transition, kick out threes, inside out, and they just haven't been able to hit a high enough percentage at this point.
First free throws of the game for either team here, shot by Isaiah Small. Bobcats were 6th in the conference in free throw shooting a year ago, but free throw shooting may have helped cost them the game against Appalachia State in the tournament last year. 9 of 14 in the overtime loss to the Mountaineers.
Man, Brant, you don't forget nothing, do you?
Nothing at all.
Okay.
But you do tip your cap to the run the Mountaineers made. Nobody expected Appalachia State to be the one cutting down the nets in Pensacola. Made a great run, upsetting several teams along the way, and then nearly won their first 4 game as well.
They did. I mean, Coach Kearns has done a great job with that program, and just the style they're playing, the type of athletes he's getting there, it's just kudos to him and the program.
Timeout taken by Terrence Johnson after the alley-oop finish there for St. Mary's. Dunk throw down by Josh Brewer, and it is 17-12.
And so the score is, we've not had a scoring flurry yet, Brant, but I think both teams are sort of filling each other out, getting the groove, and hopefully we'll have this next 5.5 minutes. Maybe we can get a few more buckets.
So if the Bobcats are to make a run this season, it will be because of how much these three can carry the load. Talking about Texas State's big three, Isaiah Small, Caleb Asbury, and Mason Harrell, each player averaging in double figures last year, each shot north of 40% from beyond the arc. All 3 players named preseason all-conference, and all 3 a lot of experience, all seniors. In the case of Small, a super senior.
Yeah, those 3 guys, they're going to carry the lion's share, especially on the offensive end for the Bobcats. And I think for them it's just shot selection, and that's what it's always about. And right now, Texas State has struggled a little bit with that, but again, some of it's preseason, some of it Coach TJ's running through and playing a bunch of guys to get them some court time.
Caesar back into Small. Got hammer on his way up. Foul against Emmanuel Awuzie, the junior out of San Antonio. And more free throws coming up for Isaiah Small. May have got poked in the eye.
And Small is such a tough matchup for teams. You know, he's got guard skills. He has the length and height to be an interior player. You know, he's that more, I won't say the Euro 4, but he's a guy who can face up. He can get around the bucket. Most of the time with Texas State, he does play more perimeter to stretch defenses.
Now, we showed you the big 3, but Suzanne, there was some concern that was only going to be 67% full because Isaiah Small had entered the transfer portal in the offseason and was getting some looks from notable Power 5 programs. Ultimately, elected to withdraw from the portal and come back for a chance to finish the job as the team, again, had a short tournament run last year.
Yeah, and again, I think that's a good decision. Of course, you know, we broadcast all the games here for Texas State, and you enjoy watching him play. He's such a good basketball player. But I think it's an opportunity that Coach TJ lets these guys evaluate and make decisions, and he is definitely a player's coach. And I know the guys, they had some discussions when he came back. They got solid with each other, and he's here, and I know Texas State's glad to have him.
Jumper by Caleb Jordan, and then the steal. Bobcats get it back. Good deflection by Tyrell Morgan.
Yeah, both teams, again, some sloppy basketball. Right now, they've got to value the basketball, make better decisions. Credit St. Mary's. They've been doing a great job with their pressure defense. Isaiah Small, you see him throw his arms up. Finally, he's saying he finally hit with a three.
Small in the game, 6 points. His first field goal tonight. Again, a 42% three-point shooter a year ago. Coming up with 4 minutes to go in the half. Jordan the drive and throws it right to Caesar. Drennan to Coleman. The drop step. Caesar. Good finger roll. Bobcats on top by 9. And a timeout taken by St. Mary's and head coach Jim Zelznak. 23-14. Bobcats on top with a timeout on the floor. We're back after this from Strand Arena.
Venimos de muchos lugares diferentes, pero juntos formamos una familia. Nos preparamos hoy porque sabemos dónde queremos estar mañana. Cada día crecemos en conocimiento y mejoramos nuestras vidas. Nunca olvidamos de dónde venimos y trabajamos duro para que nuestros seres queridos estén orgullosos. Convertimos el potencial en realidad. Somos Texas State. ¿Estás listo para las posibilidades?
A look inside Texas State's huddle, and one of the men in the suits in that huddle is former Texas State great Dante Mathis. Was inducted into the Tea Association Hall of Honor last year, a part of the NCAA tournament teams in 1994 and 1997, teammates with the great Jeff Foster. And now the coaching staff here with Terrence Johnson. There he is to the right, Dante Mathis in the lighter suit. Face mask is on. And again, on the sidelines now for his alma mater. Big addition to the coaching staff for Terrence Johnson.
Yeah, definitely so. You know, I guess I'm getting old or older, Brant. When I started coaching here at Texas State in 1997, Dante was a player against, you mentioned Jeff Foster, and he was a lot of fun to watch. Played for Coach Mike Miller, and those guys did a great job. And Dante is such a great influence on these young men, and I know he's a great addition to Coach TJ's staff.
Good try, but McGee can't finish. Rebound, Rattlers in traffic, and it's taken away. Brewer couldn't hold on to it. Rattlers commit their 13th turnover. Bobcats, meanwhile, picking up business from the floor. They've made 4 out of the last 5 field goals. And up to 39% shooting. Martin had a blocks and a foul called against Texas State. Good defensive play by Tyler Caron. And the Rattlers get it back.
He's really improved his defense. I know Coach Zelznak really challenged him on the offseason to be able to guard. And he had to focus on that a lot tonight. He's done a great job around the rim. He's had 2 or 3 blocks. He's really changed the shots of the Bobcats, and so his length has really given some of the interior players some trouble.
One of the strengths for St. Mary's a year ago was defending opponent shots. They were 4th in the Lone Star Conference in scoring defense, 3rd in the conference in field goal percentage defense, and 2nd in the Lone Star in blocks per game.
And I guess maybe that's what's going on here is a defensive battle, Brant. Both teams are highly good defensive teams.
That is certainly a glass half full way of looking at it. Each team shooting south of 40%. Rattlers 23, Bobcats 38. And with that offensive foul against Nate Martin, the two teams have combined for 26 turnovers compared to 15 combined field goals.
Yeah, and I see Coach Seltzer, the associate head coach, is talking to Tyrell Morgan. Ended up Nate Martin got the foul, but I want to say it's not his fault. The guard has got to see that help side defense and not lead your big into trouble. And he led Nate Martin into trouble and got that charge on him.
And Martin, that's his first personal, 14th foul. Final 2:40 of the first half. Next time the Bobcats play basketball here, Thanksgiving will be right around the corner. Shot clock under 10. Jordan the drive. Good kick out. Three-pointer short by Jason Presley. Rattlers just 2 of 12 from three-point range.
And again, Texas State's going to use a little clock here, try to get into some offense. And again, the times they have moved the ball with a purpose around the perimeter, they've gotten good looks and have hit a high percentage. They get in a situation here with a little too much dribbling by Asbury.
Here's Small, short on the three, got it back and sticks it back in. Isaiah Small up to 8 points, leads all players, make it, 8 for Small, 25-14. Bobcats on a 7-0 run, and this lead is their largest. Jordan, good drive, can't finish. Boy, the story of the night for St. Mary's.
Yeah, it's absolutely, Brant. The Rattlers have been getting to the rim and just not able to finish buckets.
One might say the Rattlers have been snake bitten.
Oh my goodness.
I'm just surprised you didn't come up with that.
No, I didn't, Brant. I'll give you, I let you have that one tonight.
In midseason form.
You got it.
Martin fouled, meanwhile, on this shot attempt, fouled by Presley. And here's Martin to the free throw line. He's not at 17 from the line a year ago. And Martin, again, last year backed up Alonzo Soule, but really Nigel Caesar was the primary backup to Soule. So Martin will have an increased role this year.
Definitely so. And, I think as I was getting prepared for this broadcast, Brent, I thought, what are they really needing to improve this year? And this is going to take you down a bunny trail, Brent. They lost 3 league games which were Louisiana. And so the thing I think Louisiana does is they have a really good interior, and they have size, they can score, they can rebound. And so I think it's a test for Texas State is, can their interior guys step up, toe that line, and be able to compete against teams like that in the Sun Belt.
And I got news for you. Louisiana may be even better this year. Adams the drive. Floater. No. Rebound Karen. Under a minute to go here in the first half. Rattlers trying to cut into the lead. Presley knocks it in from the corner. Rattlers showing some spark here late in the first half.
That was really good offense by the Rattlers. They pushed into transition, got the defense flat with the Bobcats, made the extra pass, and got a wide open 3 in the corner.
Here's Dawson. Inside Martin. May have been held by Presley, but no call. Bobcats ran a pick and roll there. The Rattlers may have gotten away with one. Shot clock is off. Rattlers a bucket here, makes it a 2-possession game going into the locker rooms.
And Texas State got up double digits, and then, like you said, the Rattlers came back, got some easy things out of transition, and that's really where they like to play.
McGee, long 3, way off, rebound, out of bounds. Last touch by Presley. The Bobcats get it with 4 seconds to go.
You see Coach Zelznak and also the assistant, Coach Meyer, are sort of pleading with McGee, take a little more time. The shot was a little too early. There's 4.3 seconds left. That does give the Bobcats an opportunity to at least get a good look at the bucket.
Inbound to Caesar. Small, cuts inside, throws it down. Right at the buzzer, that'll count for Isaiah Small. Finishes the first half as the only double-figure score for either team, 10 points. And an exciting play there for Small to wrap things up.
That was a great cut to the bucket by Isaiah Small, and nice finish.
So Isaiah Small, the long and lanky super senior from New Jersey, puts the Bobcats on top at the break, 28-19. Time to go. All out. Let's pack the stadium. He has tied the game. Let's get this done. If not us, then who? If not now, then when? Experience it by starting your fan journey at txst.com.
Welcome to the Bobcat family. That's not just something we say, we mean it. You see, Texas State is more than just a place. It's more than just a university. It's home. This is a space we share for learning and growing, together as Bobcats. At Texas State, we show every student a path of opportunity. It's an essential part of who we are. And together, we can go farther tomorrow than we can imagine today.
Time to go. All out. Let's pack the stadium. He has tied the game. Let's get this done. If not us, then who? If not now, then when? Experience it by starting your fan journey at TXST.
There's no Wi-Fi, there's no TV, there's no radio. So you truly get a sense of being one with the forest.
I started this study abroad program because it really is something that I wish I had had access to as an undergraduate student or as a graduate student. Texas State had nothing like this.
It's a really cool experience to be reading about something and actually being able to experience it in real life, in real time.
I've learned a lot about the diversity, and I've learned a lot of new species that I never knew about before.
You learn so much about yourself, about nature, about things that you're passionate about. You learn things that you're not passionate about as well.
This was never going to be an easy A. Even in the best of times, being a teacher means long hours of preparation, relentless focus, and unwavering patience. It means being a cheerleader and a coach, an ambassador and an advocate. And when this year forced us into the unknown, you took the next step. You worked tirelessly to master new technologies and ace every challenge. You developed solutions that served the needs of children and families. You created lessons that lit up your students' imaginations. Every day you inspired them to aspire to something greater. You're a role model, a miracle worker, a rock star. You're a teacher.
People are always searching for what's next. At Texas State University, we're always imagining it, making it, creating it, and when we need to, breaking it. Next moves us forward and turns challenge into achievement. At Texas State University, we are driving what's next. And next is now.
When I was applying to Texas State, I knew I was interested in environmental studies, and when I was going through the majors, I saw that it was listed under geography, and I actually didn't know what geography was about, but I applied because I knew that's what I wanted to do, and then I got here, and I fell in love with geography.
The community here at Texas State is very friendly and very opening, very accepting, I feel like, to all backgrounds, and I've just really enjoyed my experience here at Texas State.
We come from many different places to the green hills of Texas. We bring our dreams, our ambitions, and a desire to do more. We put in the work every day because winning takes preparation, teamwork, and leadership. Our sweetest victories are in developing new technologies, solving problems, honing our talents, and sharing what we learn. At Texas State University, winning.
Venimos de muchos lugares diferentes, pero juntos formamos una familia. Nos preparamos hoy porque sabemos dónde queremos estar mañana. Cada día crecemos en conocimiento y mejoramos nuestras vidas. Nunca olvidamos de dónde venimos y trabajamos duro para que nuestros seres queridos estén orgullosos. Convertimos el potencial en realidad. Somos Texas State. ¿Estás listo para las posibilidades? Venimos de muchos lugares diferentes.
Start of the second half here from San Marcos. Bobcats on top 28-19. Again, kind of an ugly first half for these two. You look at the numbers, and Bobcats the advantage in rebounding. 23-16, a lot of rebounds to be had. Bobcats 39% shooting, 11 of 28. And the Rattlers see the 8 field goals there, came in 31 attempts, 26% shooting for the Rattlers. Not seen there in that graphic is turnovers. So two teams combined for 27 of them. The Rattlers 13 and Terrence Johnson's Bobcats 14.
Yeah, both. It was like as you mentioned, Brand. It was a sloppy first half. I'll be honest, not unexpected. These preseason games, unfortunately, are a little bit sloppy. Again, because you've probably got some combinations out there playing together that don't play a lot or haven't played a lot of game minutes together, and then you factor in the nerves and just playing in front of a crowd, especially, I don't think we've talked much about it, but St. Mary's, the 12 opportunities they did have last year to play, the majority of those were without fans. And so some of these guys, it's their first time in probably a year and a half to play with fans in the stands, and so that always gets the juices flowing, and, I think these guys will hopefully calm down the second half and get more into their game.
Leading scorers in the first half, the Rattlers were led by Ryan Leonard, who had 5, and the Bobcats led by Isaiah Small, who had 10. A lot of those coming in the final few minutes. Second half underway as Leonard travels. 14 turnovers for St. Mary's. They averaged more than 16 turnovers a game a year ago. Well on pace to shatter that number. Second highest turnover rate in the Lone Star Conference a year ago.
Yeah, and that's one of those things, if, I know they have aspirations this year to move up that league standings in the Lone Star, and being able to take care of the basketball. That's one of the hardest things to teach players, is to value the possessions. Those quick shots or turnovers or sloppy passes, those are going to come back and bite you if you don't take care of it.
And also a big emphasis for coaches is when the other team gives you the basketball, take advantage of it. And the Bobcats did a very good job of that last year, as Drennan has the miss. The Bobcats averaged more than 15 points per game off of opponent turnovers. When they had the advantage in that stat, they were 12-4 a year ago. If they did that, they typically won. So far, the advantage tonight, 13-4 plus 9.
Yeah, and again, it's one of those things that a lot of times, nice block there again by Karen. He has done a great job on the glass. Interrupted my thought, it was such a great block. The teams that take care of the ball and can transition and score out of it, they're going to win a bunch of ball games, just like you mentioned the Bobcats did last year.
And then Leonard with a 3, and the lead is down to 6, 28-22. Ball stays with Texas State with 17 seconds to shoot. The Rattlers, not a great three-point shooting team last year, 33%. Second fewest amount of three-pointers made in the Lone Star Conference last year. And again, we talked about this earlier. This is a very good Division II conference.
It's a really good league. I mean, it's got to be one of the top in the country. Again, you had two teams. You had the team that won the league, didn't even make it to the national championship game, but you had the second place team, West Texas A&M, in the championship final. And so you have two teams that are very dominating, and then you've got teams like A&M Commerce that are in there. There's some really good teams in this league. It is a big league. It has 3 divisions. We didn't even talk about that. I've not seen very many 3-division leagues, but they have it in the Lone Star.
That's right. St. Mary's is in the South Division. Rebound, Nigel Caesar. 2 minutes gone by here in the second half. Bobcats led by 9 at the break. Still looking for their first points since halftime. Shot clock out of 10. Adams finds Small. Shot clock to 5, and there is another play made by Tyler Karen. Bobcats will get 1 second on the shot clock, a catch-and-shoot situation here for Texas State.
Karen has had a really good floor game. He's done a great job on the defensive end for the Rattlers. And on the offensive end, he's taken not a lot of shots, but I've really been impressed with his defense tonight.
Asbury on the catch and shoot. Rattles it home. Asbury's got 5, and the Bobcats have their first second-half field goal. We talked about the Lone Star Conference and all this conference realignment. The biggest domino, of course, to fall was in the SEC with the additions of Texas and Oklahoma. Well, the dominoes have fallen so far, it has reached the Lone Star Conference as McGee misses a 3. You mentioned A&M Commerce. The Lions are about to join the Southland Conference and move up to Division I. Of course, the Southland is about to lose some more teams because of conference realignment. So you start to wonder, Suzanne, just how much further down the line will this ripple effect be felt?
I think it's going to go on for a little while. I mean, you know, you look at the Sun Belt, the league that the Bobcats are in, and, you know, there's been some additions that we haven't talked a little bit about tonight. You've got Southern Miss coming in.
Old Dominion
coming in.
Marshall,
and there's some rumors of some other teams joining the league. You know, most people right now, they're sort of depleting the Conference USA. Conference USA has discussions of some teams coming there, and then you see some of the Division II, as you mentioned, moving up. So I think there's still some movement to be had.
Drennan off a good pass of Asbury, can't finish. Drennan was a 40% three-point shooter at Navarro Junior College last year. Basketball stays with St. Mary's. Again, Drennan is the backup to Mason Harrell this season. Was recruited by other Sun Belt programs as well, including Coastal Carolina and Georgia State.
And those two aren't too shabby.
No, yeah, the Panthers picked to win the league this season. Chanticleers, who've made some noise in the Sun Belt Conference as well. 16.5 to go in the game. Preseason game, this will not count towards the records for either team. McGee, a kick out, Washington 3, yes! C.J. Washington nails his first 3 of the game. It's a 2-possession game now, 30-25.
And I see why Coach Zelnak is excited to have McGee back. He does such a good job running the Rattler offense. You can tell he's patient. He can break you down off the dribble. Got a really good look there for Washington on last possession.
Brennan, answer 3, won't rattle in. Small, no. And now the Rattlers can make it a 1-possession game. McGee lost the basketball. Bobcats take advantage, and a chance for a 3-point play for Isaiah Small. And again, we talked about coachable moments. If you're Coach Zelznak, that is a turnover McGee cannot commit in transition, as that's going to take us to a timeout. And right now, Isaiah Small being looked at on the floor. And we hope to get an update on Isaiah when we come back. Looks to be in some pain. 32-25, Bobcats on top in San Marcos.
There's no Wi-Fi, there's no TV, there's no radio. So you truly get a sense of being one with the forest.
I started this study abroad program because it really is something that I wish I had had access to as an undergraduate student or as a graduate student. Texas State had nothing like this.
It's a really cool experience to be reading about something and actually being able to experience it in real life, in real time.
I've learned a lot about the diversity, and I've learned a lot of new species that I never knew about before.
You learn so much about yourself, about nature, about things that you're passionate about. You learn things that you're not passionate about as well.
This was never going to be an easy A. Even in the best of times, being a teacher means long hours of preparation, relentless focus, and unwavering patience. It means being a cheerleader and a coach, an ambassador and an advocate. And when this year forced us into the unknown, you took the next step. You worked tirelessly to master new technologies and ace every challenge. You developed solutions that served the needs of children and families. You created lessons that lit up your students' imaginations. Every day you inspired them to aspire to something greater. You're a role model, a miracle worker, a rock star. You're a teacher.
Let's take you back to this last play. Isaiah Small landing a little bit awkwardly on this and one play. And you see it right there. Looks to be favoring his left leg. They were working on Small on the floor when we went to break. They've just taken Isaiah Small into the locker room.
Yeah, it looks like, we hope the best. It looked like to me the way that the athletic trainer was dealing with him is probably some type of a cramp injury and hopefully nothing more serious, but, you won't know that. You don't want to speculate. But looks like they've subbed in, and Bobcats are going to have to move on down the road, without the services of Isaiah Small for at least a little bit.
So the free throw good by Nigel Caesar as he completed a three-point play for Isaiah Small, who again has been taken into the locker room for further evaluation. 33-25, Washington. Off in the corner three. Adams has the rebound for Texas State.
And, one of the things we've talked about a little bit tonight, Bran, is you look at Drennan. He's played the majority, if not all of the minutes at the point guard position. This is going to be really good for him. One of the things we talked about is who is going to come in behind Mason Harrell, and this is some really good experience for him and for Coach TJ to work with him.
Shelby Adams on the offensive rebound, able to lay it in. Second basket tonight, rather, for Adams, super senior out of Converse Judson High School. Back out to a 10-point Bobcat lead. They have led by as many as 12. Adams coming off the career year. Scoring average last year, a career high, hit double figures 3 times. Turnover, St. Mary's, the Rattlers with their 18th tonight. And again, right now, a lot of the concern for Texas State is with Isaiah Small, taken back into the locker room. Senior out of Jersey City, New Jersey. Preseason third team all Sun Belt. Ranked in the top 10 in the conference a year ago in three-point shooting, field goal shooting, and blocks. And now maybe you can see it as Martin lays it in just to the right of the shot clock, just out of your picture now. Isaiah Small is now on the exercise bike. That's a very promising sign.
Yeah, again, it looked like it was maybe a little bit of a cramping issue, and they've got him there with some Gatorade, so we'll see if he comes back in. Really good offense there by the Rattlers. Nice little pick and slip, and great job coming across with that block.
Caesar with a rejection for Texas State, 10 blocks a year ago. See him kind of grabbing at his jersey, ready for a breather now. A look at it from behind the basket, and the block there of Giacchini. Back to action, 37-25, Bobcats on top. Under 14 to go here in the second half. Shot clock winding down. Shot won't go, but Washington foul to the axe in the first free throws of the game coming up for St. Mary's.
Yeah, and again, Caesar did a nice job cutting him off at the point of the drive there, but you just got to give him a little space and not foul. There was 1 second left on the shot clock. And again, it's one of those things you just don't want to foul a jump shooter, especially with short seconds.
Here's Washington. 69% foul shooter at junior college a year ago. This is third collegiate stop. Washington began his career at Kennesaw State, a Division I program in Georgia. Rattlers as a team last year, 73% from the line. Final game of the season last year, a win for St. Mary's. 26 of 30 from the line for the Rattlers. So there is Isaiah Small out of the locker room, was on the bike moments ago, and looks to be in much better spirits than he was at the time of the incident.
Yeah, again, he looks like he's going to be okay, and we'll see if he gets back in the ball game tonight.
I'd venture a guess he doesn't. Just speculation on my part. Asbury, the missed three. Dawson, the rebound for Texas State. And the Bobcats holding Mason Harrell out as a precautionary measure. Good pass, Martin inside Asbury. Got it back. Can't flip it in. Adams, another offensive rebound. Bobcats now with 11 offensive boards here tonight. Open look at a three, Asbury. No. Rebound, Washington.
Yeah, he had a really good look at that one. You know, and one of the guys we haven't talked a whole lot about tonight is Shelby Adams. You know, we talk about the big three, but it's hard to put in words what Adams brings to this program. He is such a glue guy. He's a program guy, and the leadership he provides on and off the floor for Texas State is just off the charts.
When you talk to Shelby Adams, he'll tell you that a lot of that maturity has come from now being a dad.
Yeah.
Washington at the buzzer, well short. Shot clock violation, back to Texas State, and there is Mason Harrell, first team All-Sunbelt Conference a year ago, just the third player in program history to earn that honor, along with Caven Gilder-Tilbury and Nigel Pearson. Harrell the honor last year, 8th in the Sunbelt in scoring, 10th in assists. Preseason first team All-Sunbelt Conference, a heavily used player last year, second of the conference in minutes played. Only Michael Flowers of South Alabama played more.
Yeah, he was an Iron Man. I mean, it wasn't shocking to see him playing 40 minutes twice in a row on a weekend series, and so definitely he is someone they count on a lot to play a lot of minutes. And again, the games he did get in foul trouble, you had the luxury of going to Marlon Davis. And you see tonight, it's going to be some good tape for Coach Johnson and the team to watch, as you've had Drennan and now they've got Dawson.
37-26, Bobcats on top. Earlier we showed you Texas State's big three. How about three players to watch for if your head coach Jim Zelsnak for St. Mary's talked about him? Mamadi Diakini, one of those players to watch. Honorable mention, all Lone Star Conference last year. Tyler Karen, 11.7 points a game a season ago. And Caleb Jordan, the point guard as well, will be a fixture in the lineup this season for St. Mary's.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how this team does down the stretch. They have those three guys you name their brand, but then some of these transfers they've added in, I think are going to be a really nice mixture for them.
Well, that three-pointer way off by Karen. Asbury transition, lost it, but fouled on the way up by Washington. And free throws coming up here for Caleb Asbury. We talked about that tournament loss against Appalachia State, a heartbreaker. But the Bobcats, almost a miraculous comeback. Asbury himself was nearly the hero in that game. He, by himself, scored 10 points in the final 33 seconds of regulation.
Yeah, it was a crazy game. I mean, in Pensacola, just watching the guys and again, credit to App State. They played great, but just the comeback, the fight within the Bobcats to get back in the ball game. You had three guys in double figures. I believe Asbury had a double-double that game. And it was a great, if you're a basketball fan, it was a great game to watch.
39-26, 11 and change to go here in the second half. Shot clock under 10. And Jordan lost it. Rattlers another turnover, their 20th. Morgan the other way. Rattlers get it back.
And Karen had another tremendous block there against Morgan. He's done a really great job around the rim, being a rim protector tonight.
The Rattlers have 6 blocks as a team. Washington lines it up and hits from 3. C.J. Washington with his second 3. Lead is back down to 10.
Yeah, and again, Washington is one of those Division I transfers as playing this year for the first season for the Rattlers, and I think they're going to be a difference maker for them and help them get an opportunity to get back in the winning ways.
You look at three-point shooting, hasn't been great for either team, but for the Bobcats, it's really been tough tonight. 2 of 13, 15%. This for a team that was second in the Sun Belt in three-point shooting last year. Best or second best percentage, but they didn't take a lot. Last in the conference in three-pointers made. This is not a team built on the three-pointer.
No, it's not. I mean, Coach TJ wants the guys, to play inside out. They're going to really get good shots. And you see Isaiah Small is one of the key three-point shooters. He's back in the game now for Texas State. But, back to three-point shooting, they took good shots. And, a three is a three, but you want to take the ones where your feet are set and you get really good looks at the bucket, and that was one of the things the Bobcats did last year, why their percentage was so high.
So you see Isaiah Small back at the floor. That noise you heard was all of Bobcat Nation letting out a sigh of relief. And by the way, my assumption was dead wrong. He is, in fact, back in the game.
Yeah. And again, you just don't know. I mean, it's one of those things, not knowing what he was saying over on the sideline, and so the coaches are privy to that, and they can make a good judgment as to whether he should get back in and play tonight.
Dawson the swipe. The other way, layup good. Davian Coleman, sophomore out of Houston. Nice basket in transition. Jordan the other way, turns it over again, or nearly did. That is a turnover on a steal by Jenkins. Caesar on the other end of the alley-oop try that did not work. The basketball goes back to St. Mary's.
I don't think that one's going to be on the highlight reel, Brant.
So that sequence there, a pass right to a Bobcat, failed alley-oop attempt, is kind of this game in a nutshell. And we have a timeout on the floor. 9:45 to go, second half. It's been ugly, but the Bobcats hold a 41-29 lead. Back with more after this from St. Marcus with Texas State up by a dozen. So let's take you back to this failed alley-oop attempt. Well, that actually was the basket in transition by Davian Coleman. This the alley-oop. Small to Caesar. And look to the left of your screen. Shelby Copeland, one of our camera operators, right in the middle of that play. And basketball, very much a contact sport, and not only for the players involved.
Absolutely. I mean, the camera person has got to be aware, and it's one of those things. She probably got a really good shot that we'll get to see later on.
Meanwhile, Washington buries his third three of the game. Washington, the transfer out of Collins Junior College, and just like that, the Rattlers within single digits. Drennan, nice pass inside, and then the jump pass to Jenkins in the corner off the feed from Coleman, can't connect. Rattlers the other way. Jordan just throws up a prayer, but there to clean it up, Emmanuel Owuzie, and the lead is down to 7.
Yeah, Owuzie, he's a very physical-looking player. He can do some damage on the offensive glass and on the boards.
Oh, and a scary, very scary moment there. Into the basket support goes Caleb Jordan. Drew Drennan was trying to block his shot. The two collided, and it looked like Jordan went right into the basket support. You can even see the padding has been removed on the bottom part of the stanchion. And here it is again. It looks like his head went off the bottom of the basket support. Jordan has been helped to his feet. Jim Zelznak is out there to look at his player as well, along with the training staff. They're going to go back and look at this to see if it's a flagrant against Drennan. And good to see Jordan going back to the sidelines. When scary stuff.
Yeah,
obviously,
absolutely.
Players just competing at their hardest. Nobody wants to hurt a colleague on the floor. It's a part of the game and one you hate to see.
Yeah, it is. And, you know, Drennan, he definitely was, to me, trying to make a play on the ball, and it ended up you just have two physical guys. He goes up, he makes a play for the ball, and then their bodies just crash, and ends up, like you said, he nailed into the back there of the bucket.
So Jordan, since that moment, was helped to his feet, taken back to the bench. Hopefully he's going to be okay. And the officials are reviewing it right now to determine if this is a flagrant, and if so, to what degree, 1 or a 2.
Yeah, and it, you know, it's one of those things. They're taking a little while to look at it over there. The officials are, so they want to get it right, and so they're going to take multiple views of it, and then come back and we'll sort of see what they determine.
Again, Caleb Jordan was one of those players we highlighted for the Rattlers, one of their 3 to watch this year. Senior out of Midlothian, Texas, a couple of years ago, honorable mention, All Lone Star Conference. That year, the 1920 season, had 7 games of 20 points or more, and will be a fixture in the lineup for St. Mary's this year. Washington talking to the official there as they continue to review the play.
Yeah, and I thought when one of the officials walked out, they had made the decision, but then they went back to the monitor again, so they're really taking a thorough look at this to see, you know, what they're going to do.
If it is a flagrant 2, then Drennan would be ejected.
Correct.
And if that's the case, then the Bobcats might be struggling to find a point guard. Mason Harrell, of course, not in action tonight. So then Terrence Johnson likely would turn to Dylan Dawson at the point. Dawson was the one who filled in at point guard where Harrell sat out the final game of the regular season last year against ULM.
Yeah. And again, they're talking about it now at sort of center court there. The 3 officials are just trying to make a good decision. You know, I definitely believe he was making a play for the ball, but again, they're really looking to see if it's excessive in nature, and so that's a little bit subjective. You know, there's not a guide, and so it's just going to depend on what the 3 officials come together and decide.
Again, 41-34, Texas State on top. Rattlers making a bit of a run here. Bobcats have missed 6 of the last 7 from the floor, and the decision is coming. It has been ruled as a flagrant 1 against Drennan, so he can remain in the game, but 2 free throws in possession coming up for St. Mary's.
Yeah. And I think that's probably the right call. It wasn't, I don't know.
Wasn't malicious in nature.
No, it was not malicious. You know, again, I'm not quite back to the Detroit Pistons back in the day. You know, I see you laugh. You know, it's not quite, you know, the Jordan rules, as they would say. But, you know, I get it because it was a lot of contact. And but I think it was a legitimate basketball play.
Yeah, if you want to see physical basketball with a capital P, go to YouTube, type in Bill Lambier, Pistons Celtics. As Jordan, by the way, good to see him not only get up, but now remaining in the game himself and shooting his own free throws.
Yeah. So you saying a little more physical back in the day?
A little bit more.
Okay.
Jordan missing both free throws. Boy, those Pistons-Celtics battles. But people talk about the Jordan rules, but before it was Detroit-Chicago, it was Detroit-Boston.
Yeah. A little MMA going on, pretty
A
much.
little bit, little MMA, little AEW. Here's Jordan, and that ball pinballs off the shoulder of a Woozy right to Washington. And now a foul against Texas State on the reach in their 5th.
Coach TJ's doing some coaching from the sideline over there, trying to get his guys. Caesar's got to keep moving his feet so he doesn't get those blocking fouls when he's helping on those ball screens.
Jim Selznick coaching for the sidelines. Been a Rattler lifer, not only with basketball.
Yeah, I mean, a unique coaching path. I've never heard of it before, I'll be honest. I mean, and I'll let you tell about it. I mean, softball, who knew?
Yeah, NAIA World Series champions with the St. Mary's softball program. He's been an assistant before on the staff at St. Mary's for the basketball program. He's been around for a long time there in San Antonio. Not too far from downtown, the campus for St. Mary's.
And again, we even on further down the bench, his assistant is a lifer, as I would call him, for St. Mary's. Bubba Meyer, his dad was a coach before, named Buddy Meyer. And so there's just a long lineage over there on the bench of Rattler blood.
This is a 3-possession game. Ball knocked away by Caesar. A foul is called. It is against Caesar, and the Rattlers will have a chance to make it a 2-possession game when we come back. Bobcats leading 41-34, under 8 to go in this preseason game from Strand Arena. And back out of Strand Arena, we were talking about Jim Zelsnak, St. Mary's lifer, 17th season as the head coach for this program. You look at what they've done over the past 10 years as a three-pointer is missed. And the basketball will stay with St. Mary's. Saw that information up there for a moment, but again, the Rattlers for 4 straight seasons to start the last decade, excellent program. Averaged more than 20 wins a year, won 3 conference championships, a run highlighted by a tournament run all the way to the Sweet 16 in 2014. But since that 4-year stretch, 6 straight losing seasons for St. Mary's. Still adjusting to a very good Lone Star Conference, as we talked about, Suzanne. A lot of that success we saw came as members of the Heartland Conference, much tougher in the Lone Star.
Yeah, it is. It's sort of a super league in the Division II. Again, the number of teams, you have 17 teams in the league, 3 divisions, and you got 2 powerhouse programs. And so it's definitely a league that's going to test you every time you step on the floor.
Asbury step back 3 ends Texas State's drought of nearly 3 minutes. Bobcats back in front by double figures, 44-34, under 7 to go here in the second half.
And again, you got 6.5 left. You know, Texas State needs to just sit down and guard, do the things they've been doing on the defensive end, and just take care of the basketball. Again, the times they've been patient on offense, they've had really good success against the Rattlers.
Shot clock down to 3. Presley. The miss from the baseline. Adams has the rebound for Texas State. Bobcats is 6 of 22 shooting here in the second half. For the game, they're down to 34%. A lot of things to be cleaned up before the opener next Tuesday against Incarnate Word. Asbury, tough shot, goes through for Caleb Asbury, the senior out of Pflugerville. Shot there looked very reminiscent to some of the ones we saw down the stretch in that tournament game against Appalachian State. Martin in traffic rips away the rebound.
That was a great rebound by Martin. Did a really good job of securing the ball with a lot of hands in there.
It looks like Isaiah Small is cramping up again. That's the reason for the stoppage here. He'll come out.
Again, you know, being a former star athlete, Brant and Stud, you know, basketball, New Basketball Association.
Right, yes.
You know.
Everything cramped up.
Correct. When things cramp up, they're going to continue. You've just got to get those fluids in you. So that may be now your call you had earlier. He may be resting the rest of the game.
5:40 to go. 46-34. Bobcats on top. Texas State led in scoring by Isaiah Small, Caleb Asbury. Each have a dozen. Rattlers are led by C.J. Washington, who has 10.
And again, I think both Asbury and Small have, you know, done the things they've needed to do tonight. Asbury finally has hit a couple buckets in a row. You know, the difficulty of the shots he's hit would probably be on like an 8.5 to 9. He's had some easier looks tonight he just hadn't hit on, and I think he'll get in the groove.
Out of the brief officials' timeout to get Small off the floor. Bobcats a 12-point lead and the basketball. Texas State's home opener November 24th against LeTourneau. One of 3 non-D1 teams the Bobcats will host in the regular season this year, along with Southwestern and Paul Quinn. Adams on the baseline, pulls up, way off. Rebound, Karen. Ball slapped away, saved by Giacchini. And then a foul against Martin, and that will put the Rattlers on the free throw line in the bonus.
Yeah, and you hate that for Martin. A hustle play, trying to get the basketball, and unfortunately had a little bit of a clipping foul there. And again, it's going to put the Rattlers on the line. And again, I've been super impressed with Karen tonight. He's done a great job on both ends. I think he's going to be a real asset to the Rattlers this season.
Sophomore from Longview, Texas, out of Spring Hill High School. Started all 12 games as a true freshman last year for St. Mary's. Very good foul shooter. a year ago for the Rattlers, 83%. Had his first career double-double in last year's finale against Oklahoma Christian, 23-10 that night, and splits the 2 free throws.
They've got about 11-point spread here, 46-35, and I think Texas State should be really being patient on possessions, trying to use that clock a little bit. And just as I say that, we don't.
Adams rushes the shot.
You got it.
Under 5 to go. Rattlers trying to hang around.
And again, Texas State, their defense tonight, I thought they've done a pretty decent job of the rotations. Great hands there by Asbury to get his hands on it and get another turnover from the Rattlers. But overall, the rotations have been somewhat solid. I think it's going to continue to get better when the players are playing more, familiar. Like you get Harrell back out there in your normal rotations, and they sort of know what each of their teammates is going to do on a more consistent basis.
Rattlers have gone on a field goal drought. No buckets for them over the past 4+ minutes. But still within striking distance here. This game far from over. See Terrence Johnson there on the sidelines. Second-year coach for Texas State. And what a first year it was. Again, 18 wins, second to most by a first-year coach in program history. And the most ever for a first-year head coach in the program's Division I era dating back to 1985. And did it as the interim during a COVID year. Well accomplished in the year last year for the man they call TJ.
It's a lot of hurdles to clear.
Adams, a 5-second call. Can't get it inbounded in time. 19th turnover for Texas State.
And that's something I know definitely Coach TJ is going to address as the turnovers. They've got to take better care of the basketball. Brand, as I look over at the Texas State bench and see Coach TJ talking to the players there, it's probably one of the few teams you look at the alumni sitting on the bench. You've talked about Dante Mathis as a former player, former star here at Texas State. Then a couple down, you got Marlon Davis with a clipboard. I'm not sure what Marlon's keeping stats on, but he's doing something over there. And then next to him is O.J. Black, another former player. So you really see how Coach Johnson has really tried to bring back the alumni not only to the court but to a part of the program and to be in vital roles.
And what those two have in common right there, O.J. Black, Marlon Davis, they play the same position, point guard.
Yep.
Seems that point guards make really good coaches.
And so did Dante. And so, I think that's just a credit to the program that Coach Johnson is not trying to build, but building here at Texas State. And he's doing it, on the shoulders and backs of former players.
O.J. Black was a member of the team that made a run to the Sun Belt Finals back in 2017. 2017, beg your pardon. 46-35. Here's McGee on the pick and roll. Into the corner. Brewer open three and cans it. And the lead is down to 8 with 4 minutes and change left. Rattlers amping up the pressure. Drennan. Jump pass to Asbury. And now the Bobcats can set up with a half-court offense.
A really good execution that last possession by the Rattlers. They really are making the extra pass, getting the best shot, and then again they're getting in that press. And they don't press often, but when they do, they are very comfortable doing that full-court man.
Asbury's three is off. Martin, another offensive rebound. Slapped away, saved, and Martin feeds it to Asbury. Finds Drennan. Shot clock down to 10. Bobcats looking for some breathing room with 3.5 left. Drennan heads down, puts it up. It's off. Rebound, Morgan. Can't lay it in. Got his own miss. Blocks. Ball out of bounds off the knee of Morgan. And the Rattlers get it back with a timeout on the floor. St. Mary's hanging around. 3:15 left, 8-point game in San Marcos. You see Texas State, last 5 seasons, leading the Sun Belt Conference in scoring defense. And they've held the Rattlers to 38 points so far tonight. That number last year, 61.7 allowed, 11th nationally. However, they've only scored 46. This game is tight. It's a 6-point game now. Jumper good for Josh Brewer. So again, the Bobcats, we know their calling card is defense, Suzanne, but the question remains, can they score enough?
Yeah, it is definitely, and you've seen, we talked about the new players that are in at St. Mary's, and you saw that was a big bucket there by another transfer, Josh Brewer, who played at Miami of Ohio last year. And so I think they're definitely going to make an impact for the St. Mary's Rattlers.
Here's Dawson. Shot clock down to 10. Hedged out and got hip checked by Presley. 15 foul. So the Bobcats not shooting free throws yet, but now they can bleed some more clock.
Yeah, the last 2 times they went with that short seconds offense, which basically is a high ball screen for the point guard, and St. Mary's is jump trapping it, and the guards have not handled that well. They've got to be able to make a quicker decision with the basketball.
Here's Drennan against Benavidez. Good man-to-man. Shot clock to 10. This is Asbury. Heads down again. Shot clock to 4. Dawson. Caesar. Got to put it up. Big shot, Nigel Caesar. And then a steal by Asbury. Back in. Adams, a throwdown. 2 big buckets there for Texas State.
That was huge. 2 huge plays. Great finish by Caesar, and then again, turnovers are going to come back and are biting the Rattlers.
Goes from a 2-possession game to a 4-possession game just like that. Desperation 3 won't go for Brewer. And the Bobcats now pulling away.
Yeah, and again, it's just small plays can make such a big difference. And again, patience by the Bobcats, had the big bucket, but then when you have the turnover, it makes it a much more difficult task for the Rattlers to get back in it.
Giacchini, the block of Dawson. McGee off the pump fake. Short on the 3. Benavidez. He's short as well. Under a minute to go. And the Rattlers, that big rally late, but it might not be enough. Asbury calls for timeout with 50.5 to go. So let's take you back to, again, the bucket from Caesar, shot clock winding down, and then right after this, big play from Asbury.
Yeah, nice finish there by Caesar. Did a really nice job of taking them down the baseline, nice off the glass, and then we'll see if we get to see the steal here. Yep, nice pass there, the steal by Asbury. Great finish there with the dunk by Adams. I think Coach Zelznak is going to have some really good teaching points, as well as Coach Johnson from this tape. There's just a lot of good that happened tonight, but there's a lot of things that both programs need to clean up.
Again, this is a preseason game for both teams. The Bobcats kick off the regular season on Tuesday. A Texas State team picked to finish 3rd in the Sun Belt Conference preseason poll. Ahead of the Bobcats, Georgia State picked to win it, and Louisiana picked to finish 2nd. Be a very competitive Sun Belt here in 2021 and 22.
Man, when isn't it? I mean, the Sun Belt, it is a rigorous schedule for all the teams. And to be able to hang in there, you've got to just come out every night and be ready to battle.
Shot clock to 5. Asbury just threw it anywhere. Last touch by the Rattlers and 1 to shoot.
Yeah, and they have 1 to shoot. Last time, let's see if they're running. It looks like the same set. They had the Asbury with the fadeaway coming off a couple screens here. Happened earlier in the first half.
Drennan on the touch. Caesar almost got it. Asbury on the rebound cleans it up. And Texas State showing the experience that this team has, the ability to close out a tight ball game.
Yeah, definitely. And again, you've got guys who have played significant minutes for the Bobcats last year that are, sort of showing themselves at this point.
Three-pointer knocked home by McGee. 14 seconds to go. Bobcats inbound it again off the deflection. And let's see if Jim Zelznak instructs his team to foul here. And there you see the newest athletic director of Texas State, Don Coryell, with his family in attendance. Heavily involved in basketball over the years, a former D1 player himself at Lamar, a program the Bobcats will play in the regular season this year. The Rattlers are not fouling. One game in and the preseason is over. And Texas State wins its exhibition game against St. Mary's 52-43. Suzanne certainly not a runaway by any stretch. Ugly at times, but for Terrence Johnson, got the result he wanted.
Yeah, definitely so. And I think it was more about getting to play someone different tonight than the outcome of the game, the win or loss. You want to win, of course, but I think it's going to give both teams some tape to do some teaching on and getting the guys to correct some things as each team gets ready for their next ball game.
Bobcats tonight. Hard to see the score, by the way, as the background's in white. 52-43, the final score. Bobcats led by Caleb Asbury, who scored 14. Isaiah Small scored a dozen. Bobcats' first regular season game coming up on Tuesday against UIW. So for Suzanne Fox, I'm Brent Freeman saying so long from San Marcos. The final score, Texas State 52, St. Mary's 43. All games airing on the ESPN networks are streaming live and archived on the ESPN app. This has been a presentation of ESPN. From Strand Arena, good night.